Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing our voting for the Pro Bowl via NFL.com. Voting opened up about a week ago and it doesn't close until Christmas. So a lot can change, but I wanted to highlight some of the players having Pro Bowl worthy seasons. On top of that, I wanted to highlight why the way the NFL has it set up, it's kind of stupid. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below as we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. We're going to be starting with the quarterbacks. We get 6 votes on the quarterbacks, and there's a couple of no-brainers for me right off the bat. One being Dak, Tua, with both those guys having great years. Dak has been really hot during the second half of the season. You gotta say Josh Allen. I mean, yeah, okay, 13 interceptions is high, but it's that big play potential, man. He for the mistakes he makes, like he hits those big plays almost tenfold. So you gotta include him in here. Of course, Brock Purdy deserves it. I mean, the guy's in the MVP conversation, though. I think the MVP might not necessarily need to go to a quarterback this year. And then Jalen Hurts is the next obvious decision for me. The guy has what, like 13 rushing touchdowns this year via the tush push, but that's not true. He had a long touchdown run in OT against the Bills. But picking a 6th quarterback, it's kind of tricky because you look at CJ Stroud having a wonderful rookie season. And then, like, okay, Mahomes, you're going to really not include Mahomes? I mean, Mahomes hasn't been, like, great this season. And the other name I want to bring up here is Jordan Love, who, if you look at him and Mahomes' numbers, they're almost identical. They really are. Jordan Love has been hot down the stretch here and just beat Mahomes. But I'm going to go with CJ Stroud. I think Stroud has just, I mean, he has really elevated that Texan team, and they're playing great football. He has been much wiser, I guess you could say, with the football than Love, than Mahomes. So those are going to be my 6 for the quarterback position. Let's go ahead to the running back position. And Christian McCaffrey is an easy yes, right? Too easy. Let's do it. Travis Etienne's having a phenomenal year. Really, really is. And then, like, I really start to look at, like, okay, what other running backs maybe deserve a shout out? Raheem Mostert, just the touchdowns are insane. 16 this season, just a ridiculous number. Derrick Henry, despite how terrible his offensive line has been, he's still putting up solid numbers. So we got 4 there. We need 2 more. And I'm going to go with the heart and soul of the Raiders offense in Josh Jacobs. Like, him being sacked or 3rd in the league in, like, total yards is just kind of wild, given just the Raiders, man. They haven't exactly been the best run blocking team. So, like, I'm going to give him a shout out, man. He's had a good season. And now this last pick for me comes down to Rachaad White, who, like, low-key having a good year through the air and on the ground, despite how terrible that interior is for the Bucs. Like, the run blocking has not been good in Tampa. And then, of course, Alvin Kamara, who served the 3-game suspension at the beginning of the year. But since he's been here, he has just been... he's been Derek Carr's little check down best friend. I'm going to lean with Rachaad White. He has much more rushing yards. And just, dude, I think he has just been hotter. He's a more explosive player than Kamara has been. But it's really close. But there we go. We got our 6 at the running back. Now we go to wide receiver. And this one was a little easier for me, obviously. Tyreek Hill, that's your MVP this season. Your MVP is Tyreek Hill, having a phenomenal year. You got CeeDee Lamb also having a really good season. AJ Brown, Keenan Allen, those were obvious ones for me. looking at the next bit, like I think Jamar Chase, what he's been able to do, even with Joe Burrow being down, but even at the beginning of the year with Joe Burrow being hurt, I think he's definitely the fifth guy there. And now you got a collection of really good players. We could talk about Stephon Diggs. We could talk about Brandon Ayuk, who has cooled off as of late. Puka Nacua having a phenomenal rookie year. DJ Moore. But it came down to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Mike Evans. And just Mike Evans, man, he has had the volume of Baker Mayfield's passes. I don't know where the Bucs would be. He is, I believe, one of two receivers with double-digit touchdown receptions this season. The other one being Tyreek Hill. So I'm going to go with Mike Evans as my sixth receiver here. Those are my six. Next is fullback. I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched a lot of fullback this season, but Kyle Juszczyk, always very, very solid. He's the only one on the list here outside of Beck, who Beck has like a kick return touchdown. That was against Jacksonville in their first game, but I'm going to go with Kyle Juszczyk. I'm not going to vote six more here. Let's move on to tight end. Let's just move on to tight end. All right. So we got our usual suspects. We got Travis Kelce. TJ Hawkinson's been absolutely wonderful. Cost me in fantasy a couple of weeks ago. That was great with his late touchdown. George Kittle, man. I think currently what he is, well, obviously here he is third in receiving yards for tight ends. He's been a big play monster, one of the many mouths that have been eaten for that 49er offense. So I think those are kind of an easy three. Sam Laporta, phenomenal rookie season. Really good. I think he leads tight ends in touchdown receptions. Nope, he's tied. He's tied with Mark Andrews, which we'll talk about in a second. And then Trey McBride, he's been hot the last few weeks. Wanted to give him a shout out. I'm not going to pick a sixth tight end here. I was like, I thought maybe Jake Ferguson. He's been money in the red zone for Dak. And obviously Evan Ingram's been, he had a really good receiving game. I think he had his first touchdown of the year actually against the Bengals this past weekend. But I want to go with Mark Andrews. But lo and behold, Mark Andrews not included. Instead, they slap on Isaiah Likely. And I think that is stupid. I think that's ridiculous. So I'm not going to vote for another tight end because it deserves to be Mark Andrews. Up until the injury, you could say he was the second or third best tight end in the league. So that's what we're going to do there. I'm going to stand on my principles. I'm going to pound my chest for flipping Mark Andrews. Now we're here at the tackle class or tackle position for a vote. And Penny Sewell has been flipping amazing. I think he's allowed the least amount of pressures among tackles who have 400 or more total snaps. He was an easy first one for me. Trent Williams has been fabulous as well, since especially coming back after injury. You saw what it was without him, and it wasn't great. Where's Dar? Here we go. Christian Darrisaw deserves a shout out. He's playing really good football as well. He's only allowed 19 pressures this season. All right. Who else do I got here? Taking a quick look at the names. See if anyone sticks out that I may have missed, because I have done this prior. So the next one is actually going to be Tyron Smith for the Dallas Cowboys. Where the heck are you, Tyron Smith? Oh, I wish it was a better way that they sorted this out. There's Steele. Oh, there we go. Tyron Smith. He's actually feels like he's kind of having not even a career resurgence, but just kind of been healthy, though. He's missed 3 or 4 games this season. So for this list, I had my cap at you had to play 8 or more games. He's at 9. So he makes the cut here for me. I'm going to also go with Colton Miller. Man, that team's just radically different with him out of the lineup. Recently, he's been dealing with, I believe it was a shoulder. And I got one more. Make sure I clicked on some of these guys. Let's see. Okay, we got Darsaw, we got Sewell, we got Trent Williams. Oh, you know what? I know who it is. It's Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs has been played really well this season. He's only allowed 18 pressures this year. If you don't remember, he made the switch from right to left tackle first year at left tackle in the NFL. He's done just a wonderful job. And as soon as I find his name, you know, I can make this easy and just Control F, but I don't want to. Go ahead, move on to the guards. And we've actually had quite a lot of good guard play. Obvious name is like a Tyler Smith guy that, man, I really think Cowboys should kick him out to tackle, but people disagree. Where's Robert Hunt? He's been phenomenal. He's been a little banged up recently, unfortunately, but he's been having a good year for my Miami Dolphins, so got to give him a shout out. Quinn Miners is kind of taking that next step to where he's a top player in the league at his position. There you are. Also, man, talk about, kind of felt like this was a throwaway. He was just traded for free, but Kevin Dotson's been flipping amazing for the Rams. Talk about getting a steal, man. Steelers, I don't know what happened there. Oh, he wasn't playing that well for us. Apparently you wasn't using them well, I guess. Let's see. Who else do we have here? I got two more. Let's see who I missed. Oh, of course. Where's Chris Lindstrom? It's probably the best guard in football right now. Let's see. Lindstrom. There we go. And then this last pick was, it was a bit of a toss-up. There was a couple of players I really liked here. There was Wyatt Teller. I'm a big Samuel Cosme guy. Ultimately, I ended up settling on actually Wyatt Teller. But so those are my 6 for the guard position. Let's go ahead and move on to center. And I was like, oh, I got to pick 6 centers, man. It's feels like center hasn't been outstanding, but there's still solid centers in the league. Obviously you got where's Jason Kelsey, probably still the best center in football. Creed Humphrey has been relatively good this year as well. Another guy that's kind of challenging for that best center in football title. Frank Ragnow's been good for the Detroit Lions. There's my boy Tyler Linderbaum. Love that he's doing well. Just kind of feels like after last year taking his bumps and bruises, it was like an up and a down year, his rookie year, that he's really found his groove and he's like, nah, I am legit. I am a good player for the squad. Then the next, I didn't love a lot of the other centers here, so I'm taking a couple of guys who they've been hurt a little bit this year, but they've played 8 or more games, and that's gonna be first my guy Connor Williams from the Dolphins. It's just, you could tell how radically different the team is with him out. And then Ryan Kelly has been pretty good for the Colts when available. So those are my centers. Let's go ahead, move on to the defense, because this is where things get weird. Really, really is. So I gotta call out right here. All right, so I saw, okay, they got outside linebacker, inside linebacker. So I started my voting here with edge, and I put together my 6, and then I went in to go put them in. And I was like, they're missing some guys. I was like, holy crap, man, they must have them as outside linebackers. Great, this is gonna be all kinds of wonky. And then I go to outside linebacker, right? And then I noticed these are all edge rushers. I am literally gonna be selecting 12 edge rushers to the Pro Bowl. Get it together, NFL, and I'm only going to be selecting 6 linebackers. That's kind of lame. I feel like there's few other linebackers that actually deserve that honor. We'll discuss it. We'll kind of break down who some of those guys were. So I guess let's start with edge, right? And Myles Garrett. I know people are going to look at, okay, the sacks are good, but you look at his total pressures, it's not like wild, but his win rate is the best in the league, 24.7. It's just a phenomenal win rate. Micah Parsons coming in there in second. He's only 0.3 behind Garrett, but they list Micah Parsons as an outside linebacker. So let's just keep moving. We got the next cat I have is Nick Bosa, who, again, I mean, it kind of goes without saying, he has the second most pressures in all of football. He deserves the nod here. Then I have Khalil Mack. I mean, 15 sacks. It does feel like kind of a bit of a career resurgence, that he's become a bit of a finesse player too. It was just kind of interesting, kind of cool. He's 7th in the league, or tied for 7th in total pressures, and it's not like his win rate it's like elite or anything, but it's solid, and he definitely deserves the shout out. Again, leading the league in sacks right now. A lot of that is like a couple of games where he's had like 3 or more sacks, but still, nonetheless, like, again, it's tied for 7th in the league in pressures. Max Crosby, man, he has been like a one-man show on the defensive line, or at least in terms of the defensive ends. He's been getting some help from Adam Butler there on the interior, but he was, during the half-year mark, he was my defensive MVP, and I think his numbers have kind of trickled down a little bit. I mean, he's 5th in the league in pressures. He's obviously tied for 3rd in sacks, but if you look at his win rate, he's like outside the top 10. So it's not fabulous, but he's still getting the job done. Trey Hendrickson has had a phenomenal season. And it feels like last game against the Jags, he looked like he was healthy. Like the week prior, he was like, no, I'll play through injury. And I was like, yeah, it's not the same Trey Hendrickson. Or I guess you could say Monday, it looked like it was like, okay, the dude is back. There's a lot of other deserving guys on here, but ultimately I ended up settling with, and it's going to shock people, maybe it won't. I'm going with Aiden Hutchinson. I know you look at 5.5 sacks, it's like, how is he worthy? Well, I mean, he has 70 pressures on the season. That's 3rd most in the league. He is 4th in terms of win rate, 21% pass rush win rate. That's just absolutely insane and bonkers. And it kills me because I really wanted to include Bryce Huff, and I was hoping he was actually included with the outside linebackers. He ended up not. And he is the guy that's on the outside looking in for me among these cats. Let's just go ahead and do our outside linebackers while we're just talking about the edge position in general. So let's just go ahead. Let's get Micah Parsons. Probably good case that he is the defensive player of the year. I know some people are going to be talking about DJ Watt, but he's another guy where his pass rush win rate isn't it up to its usual standard, but yeah, we're still clicking Watt, man. He's still having a phenomenal year. Josh Allen, it was him and Micah Parsons who would have made my 6. I think the 2 guys that I would have taken out of my initial edge rankings were Trey Hendrickson and Matt Crosby. I actually would have had Parsons and Josh Allen there instead, but since this is how they're doing it, here we are. Danielle Hunter's had a very phenomenal year, 13.5 sacks. Good for him. We're going to select him here. And then these last 2 were a little bit tough, but I'm going to go with Rashawn Gary. You see 9 sacks. It's like, oh, that's not that impressive. But again, another guy that's tied, or he's 7th in pass rush win rate this season. The guy is winning. He is. I think he's looked good this year. And then the other cat that I have is, this one was kind of a toss up between Hassan Reddick and I guess Sweat was on the other list, so I guess it wasn't a toss up. But I ended up going with Hassan Reddick. The dude's win rate pretty darn solid. He is currently 12th in pressures, has 9.5 sacks on the season. So essentially, those are my edge rushers. Let's go ahead and move to defensive interior. Wait for as it loads up here. All right, we got it. We got it. All right, so my obvious picks for defensive interior was obviously Aaron Donald. That was a quick click. I think Dexter Lawrence arguably is right up there. Like, he has been dominant in his own right. A guy that wins a lot of double teams. He's currently second to Aaron Donald in pressures among the defensive interior, and he is second to Aaron Donald in pass rush win rate. Jalen Carter has been an absolute menace. He has been dominant. Where are you at, Jalen Carter? You are somewhere around here. You are somewhere. There you are. Jalen Carter currently third in pass rush win rate among the interior. I believe he is also in terms of pressures. It's actually he's at 13, but guy's been very complete. Also, if you include him as a run stuffer. Chris Jones, where you at? Right here. I feel like those four are exceptionally easy. And actually, you could say the fifth one's kind of easy too. It's Quinnen Williams. I know the sack total isn't that high. I think he's around like 2, right? Yeah, 2 sacks. But he's fifth in the league in pressures among the interior. He is, he's tied for 7th among interiors with pressure. He's 5th in pass rush win rate. So he gets the nod here. And I'm actually going to give the other nod because, I mean, this one was a little bit tough. See who I was going to sneak in here. There was Jeffrey Simmons. I wanted to get, really, because I'm a big Jeffrey Simmons fan. I wanted to get him in here. Kenny Clark's been pretty good. You got Vita Vea. Got DeForest Buckner. But I ended up going with Justin Matabuke. He is having a career year in a contract season. So we're going to go ahead with him. Let's move on to linebacker because we only get to pick 6. Kind of a shame, but it is what it is. First off, there were 4 names immediately. I was like, no, these guys have been playing phenomenal this year. It's Oluokun, who's been everywhere for the Jaguars. Raekwon Smith, he's one of the elite. Fred Warner, one of the elite. And then the other name for me is, where do they have him here, is Demario Davis. Like, what he does for the Saints, just both as a blitzer in coverage and just as overall tackler, man. Like, this cat's like a fine wine, man. He just keeps getting better with age. Though you could say that actually about Bobby Wagner, who was someone who I ended up slipping in here. For like those last 2 spots, like there were a lot of guys. There were the Jets linebacker tandem of CJ Mosley, who is, again, another guy who's kind of having this career resurgence. You got Williams, who's played exceptionally well there. Jelani Tavai has been playing good football for the Patriots. Big part of why that defense has only allowed 26 points in the last 3 games. And yet the Patriots have lost all 3 of those games. Kind of wild. But I'm going to go with Bobby Okereke. He is just simply, I think he's done more in coverage than some of the guys here that are listed. That's kind of huge for the Giants defense. And I mean, keep in mind, this is a defense, Wink Martindale, where I feel like the linebacker responsibilities are a bit more strenuous, as a lot of times they're going like cover 0. Hey, get to the stinking quarterback. So got him here as my last. We already saw my my outside linebackers, basically my other 6 edge rushers. Let's go ahead and move to corner then, with that being the case. And for corner, man, Deron Bland's just having a special year. He's kind of a shoo-in, right? I mean, 6 pick sixes, kind of wild. 8 interceptions on the year. Also, shoot, man, I did not realize like Paulson Adebo was having this good of a year. Like 4 interceptions, I was like, okay, that's fine. Sometimes guys get a lot of picks, but they still give up a ton of yards. Not necessarily the case, man. He's allowed a 58.5 completion rate this season. No touchdowns. Has 8 pass breakups. Utterly insane. Totally deserves to be there, along with Jalen Johnson's just been shut down for the Bears. He has done a phenomenal job. And now I'm like, all right, now let's look at who's maybe that next group. And for me, an easy one. I've been saying this cat's one of the most underrated corners in the league. It's Charvarius Ward. Every week, it's like, hey, you're covering this team's number 1. Good luck, Godspeed. And he has done a phenomenal job this season at that. He has 15 pass breakups, leads the league, 2 interceptions, has allowed 2 touchdowns. But considering that against the number 1s of every team, he's allowed a completion rate of 55.1%. Yeah, no, the dude is hella good. Let's give this man his flowers. I'm going to also give this next spot to, where is Devon Witherspoon. Has had a phenomenal rookie campaign. 9 pass breakups. Has a interception. Allowed a completion rate of 54%. And I'm gonna be honest, man, this last spot felt kind of wide open. I thought about like Patrick Surtain has been really good this season, but I don't know if it quite makes it. All right, let's take a look. Let's just take a look at Patrick Surtain's numbers this year, because he's been really good, man. Really has a 4% missed tackle rate for a corner is kind of ludicrous. 7 forced incompletions, or 7 pass deflections. He's got an interception. He's allowed a completion rate of 63.2%. Ultimately, I ended up going with, and this might shock people, I don't know, I think he's been good for back-to-back years now. Darius Williams from the Jags, 13 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, completion rate of 64.2%. So is a little higher than boy Pat Surtain. I say a little higher. It's like 1% higher. But I think he has been really good. Again, Sauce was kind of in the conversation here, but I only got to pick 6. These ended up being the 6. Now let's get stupid again, because they list linebacker or safeties out as strong safety and free safeties, and today in today's game, that's such a nebulous term, that because like these safeties are now asked to do a variety of different things. They're not just strictly deep and box safeties, though. I mean, typically, if you got a niche, that most of your snaps are going to end up going, whether it's like being a center fielder or playing in the box and the slot and stuff like that. So I really wish I was just like a blanket like safety. Let me pick who I think have been the best safeties, but we're going with what they list as strong and free. So we're going to start with strong safety. Kyle Hamilton, easy. This guy's been phenomenal this season. That was an easy pick for me. So is Jabril Peppers. He's kind of been this nice utility man for the Patriots, whether it's deep, in the box, in the slot, wherever they line him up, he does pretty darn good. Josh Metellus has been, again, kind of like the Jabril Peppers for the Minnesota Vikings. He's been that utility man. So gotta include that cat here. Oh, Kareem Jackson, man. Man's a heavy hitter. He's a heavy hitter. All right, what other guys did I end up listing here? Julian Blackmon. He has actually been pretty darn solid. He's developed into a really good player for the Indianapolis Colts, and actually a guy that we talk about his usage, someone who has been utilized a ton around the line of scrimmage, a ton in the box. So we got him here, and Jordan Poyer ends up, because again, I'm kind of having to compare the safeties that they have given me. So I got Poyer, Cameron Curl, probably one of the only good things about that Washington secondary this season. So I ended up going with him. Oh, Gojo. Mad that I didn't take Justin Reed? Dude. I'm sorry, buddy. Sorry, Gojo. Gojo being a big Chiefs fan and whatnot. So those are my strong safeties. Free safeties was a little bit easier because I think these are a lot of the best safeties in around the league. As we go with Jesse Bates. It's been an interception nightmare. We got Javon Holland. You can make a great case that he has been the best safety this season. I think also in the run-in for that is Antoine Winfield. Those were an easy 3. And Geno Stone, man, he's kind of hasn't had interception in a little bit, but he has been that ball hawk in the secondary after Marcus Williams went down earlier, but now they're kind of back in this like 3 safety rotation. Cameron Bynum too. He's been coming up with big plays for the Minnesota Vikings. And now this last one was actually a little bit tough. I thought about Hyde. Trying to think. Did I think Jordan Fuller was also in the consideration for me? I ended up ultimately going with Xavier McKinney. I think he's done quite a bit there for the New York Football Giants. Now we're going to move on to the special teams. So did a lot of look into the analytics and whatnot. So when it came to kickers, I get it. Hopkins has probably the most points among kickers, but ultimately I ended up going with you got Matt Gay, who's been just kicking. I think he has the most attempts from 50 yards plus. It's kind of wild. He came up clutch in that Baltimore Ravens victory. I have him here. I have what is Bradley it's Brandon Aubrey. He's been pretty darn slick. I don't think he's missed a kick this season outside of like a PAT or 2 for the Cowboys. Cameron Dicker, the kicker. Got to include that cat. He's played well. I think both Jake Elliott and Harrison Buckner probably have been best kickers in the league thus far. And then honestly, I thought about Hopkins for this last spot, but I ended up going with Chase Coughlin. He's done an exceptionally solid job there for the Buckaroonies. All right, long snappers. Not gonna lie, not my wheelhouse. But I took a look at the names. I was like, okay, there's one. Blake Ferguson's a national treasure and a legend, so he's just getting selected because of that. And I'm a Dolphins fan, I guess. But the Jaguars, their long snapper right here, Ross, was it? I'm not going to butcher his last name, but he actually has the most tackles by long snappers, and it's by a large margin. So, and also assists as well. So, those are the 2 long snappers I'm going to show love. Like I said, relatively ignorant to long snappers. I'm sorry. Punters. I'm sure this is where a lot of y'all were like, this is what I've been waiting for. I want to see what this fool does with punters. And I think there has been 3 really great punters this season. I know some people are going to be mad at Justin Tucker being not included with the kickers. It's not his best year. Anyway, I think there's 3 head and shoulders above the rest punters this season with Logan Cook. And then I have where is it? Oh yeah, AJ Cole, who might be the best punter in the league. And then I have Bradley, was it Pinion? There for the Falcons. I ended up going with my next pick. Is it the Cowboy? I believe it's Cowboys punter Anger. I think he has the highest. Yeah, I think he has the highest or the longest hang time in the league. Where you at? Where you at? I know you're on here. There we go. I went with Thomas Morstead. Morstead's actually been great this season. He's been phenomenal. Like, the amount of fair catches he has forced. And think about this. It's not like the Jets are allowing him to be able to kick inside, like get many kicks inside the 20. Despite that, he has 25 this season. Phenomenal. But he has been their best offensive player. And I say that because at least it helps the defense. He's constantly putting the opposing offenses in not ideal situations or less than ideal for what the offense is really given the defense. So, like, yeah, shout this guy out. Then pour one out for Stonehouse, man. Got blocked twice this week, and neither of them were his fault. Granted, the second one was called a fumble, and he got hurt because of it. So, I mean, the Titans fired their special team coordinator after the game. So let's pour one out for Mr. Stonehouse, giving him the shout out. Next is return specialists. As we load it up here, and I thought there was 5 obvious answers. With you got Nixon, you got Rashid Shaheed, Xavier Gibson has done wonderful. Marvin Mims, I think he's the only guy with a kick return this season. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I believe that's the case. And then you have Darius Davis, another rookie here. Those were like an easy 5. Next, I was like, okay, who's going to be that next guy I slide in here? And it was going to be initially, was it Amir Smith, Marcette, the Panthers. But they have Blackshear here listed instead of him, which granted, Blackshear handles the kickoff duties and Smith is the punter. But that was going to be the guy I picked, but they don't list him on here. That's another thing. They don't list everybody. Like, not having Mark Andrews as an option is kind of stupid. Like, just, and this is something I noticed when I got to the special team portion, like the returners, and then we'll talk about actual like special teamers, gunners and stuff, that they don't have guys listed there. And it's like, okay, this is kind of ridiculous. So I ended up going with Covey, the return man for the Eagles, who's been pretty darn solid. So those are mine. And then for the final position, actual special teamers, I had 2 obvious answers for myself. I had, where's Miles Kilbrew for the Steelers? There he is. And then they don't have Jarek Reed listed on here. Granted, he got banged up a couple weeks ago, but what the heck, dude? That's silly. Like, I don't know. That just kind of blew my mind. So I was like, okay, well, those are like my 2 obvious answers. Where do we go from here then? What do we do now? I don't believe they have George Odom from the Niners. So I was like, oh, all right. Well, if we're looking at special team tackles, Nick Cross, who actually has been really pretty solid. Granted, I was hoping that he would get some shine at safety. I don't know. Maybe he just ends up being a really good special teamer. It is what it is. It's still, that makes me happy. That makes me happy. Looking at some of the other guys, Amir Abdullah. He's been able to keep a job in the NFL because of what he can do on special teams, and he's been good for the Raiders. And then I ended up going with Jalen Reeves-Maybin from Detroit. And to be fair, I was like, man, those are the only guys I really know that have like done really good, like off the top of my head. Like those have been my top like special team players this season. So it's like, I don't feel comfortable giving my vote to really anyone else. So there we go. That's it for the video. If you didn't know, I'm gonna go ahead and give you my tally here. That's right, I took note. So the Pro Bowlers, in terms of my voting, the teams that had the most Pro Bowlers, I had the Cowboys with 8, the 49ers with 8, I had the Eagles with 7, and then tied up with 6, I had the Dolphins, Jaguars, and Ravens. And then outside of that, teams either had lower than that. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, till next time, be easy, my friends. Later.